Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here at Effective Project Management and Marine Repair. So before I deep dive into the specifics and the project details, we have, if my mouse will move, a QR code where you can ask all your questions. Feel free to also engage with me or my team after the presentation. A bit on myself. I'm Satish Sewnarain. I'm Dutch, 39 years old, managing the operations of Dynapps in the Netherlands from our Dutch office in Rotterdam. Working for almost a bit more than 2 years worth of Dynapps. And before that, I have an FMCG experience, roughly around 15 years in Unilever and Kraft Heinz, where I had various roles within strategies, controlling, and sales. Let's talk a bit about Dynapps, yeah, just a one-slider. So what is Dynapps? Well, basically, we're #1 gold partner in the world with a high client retention rate above 95%. What do? We basically digitalize your business processes. Um, if it's a quick start or a standard solution, or you need a tailored solution, we can provide everything basically to serve your needs. Last but not least, as of yesterday, we are also the best partner in Europe 2024, which we got awarded. So a very proud achievement of the team. Let's dive deep dive a bit into the specific of the business case. So this specific business case is about a company who is called Marine Repair. It's a Dutch-based company which are performing repair and maintenance activities on vessels and containers at the harbors of the Netherlands, but also at vessels on international seas. So they provide very thermal lasting equipment and activities focus on really repairing or maintenance of these type of heavy metal materials. The goal basically, a couple of challenges which I will also talk about in a bit. Basically, one main goal: enhance operational efficiency, maintain regulatory, because they are working on international harbors and on very dangerous places as well. They also need to accommodate with certain safety, regulatory, and compliance rules, for which documentations needs to be recorded and signed off. And of course, last but not least, it's why we are all in business, I think: improve profitability. So the challenges that this company was facing, project complexity, coordinating various stages between their projects, going across a lot of overhead functions as well in order to maintain and understand the progress and performance on every type of project that they were serving. They had no insights on margin controlling, so they were basically sending a quotation based on best guess estimate or history. They were thinking about, okay, this should be a nice offer that we can make to our customers. But they had no visibility on the cost that they were making, so basically zero margin controlling. Regulatory compliance was becoming a real bottleneck in their process. As regulatory rules involved became stricter and stricter, they needed to have an enhanced and efficient way to also have a process flow which is controlling their documents required for also be ready in case certain safety audits was passing by. They had a system fragmentation, and I've put literally a text here in red. The system fragmentation led basically to every order being 4 times checked by various people within their organization, which we basically did a quick calculation. It was a waste of 40% of overhead cost involved there, which is a high impact as well eventually on their margin. So let's deep dive a bit into the solutions that we provided. So I will support all of these items as well with visuals. 4 areas that we focused on: project management integration, project margin controlling, regulatory documentation, and improved collaboration in their organization. How did we do it? With Odoo. So before I deep dive into what we are seeing here, a lot of these basically inspired Odoo as well, because in their version 18 upgrade, the project module and app has been enhanced in such a way that what we customize in version 17, they made it as part of their standard solution in version 18. So we set the tone and set the standard for Odoo in the upcoming versions as well. First of all, project management integration on projects. What did we do? We basically built one dashboard overview in their project module where you could see in one glimpse a project hierarchy. So you could see all the project in a list view. You had a project detailed overview, but also the task assigned. Accommodating with the task assigned, you could also monitor the progress. So the progress here in this specific business case was on threefold basically. Project date, so really according to delivery, so working on tight deadlines. In certain cases for them, days were more important than costs versus budget. So one attribute to monitor the performance was on dates. At the other hand, certain monitoring were also required to be performed on the hours because the hours eventually led to cost, which were basically indicating then if we are above or below the budget. So in the dashboard overview here, what you see on the left part is more the project hierarchy setup, project tasks. And on the right side, you had the overview in one glimpse, one screen basically, where you could, the operation manager could basically monitor the entire project process across multiple projects as well. The next one, what we did also as part of integration, was link in a much more integrated way the project according to the planning module. So from a project, eventually this organization needs to also assign their persons to specific type of activities to be performed, either if it's on-site, off-site, or even in the middle of the oceans. So they need to have the robust planning overview integrated as well to their projects. So here we have a screenshot basically where you can see from the project, you deep dive into the planning module. From the planning module, you could assign certain persons to, okay, what type of project are they working on, assign them to the project, assign as well the project to the sale order line so that you can effectively monitor if you are performing against the quoted hours that has been sent out to the customer. Going a bit more now into the regulatory area, enhanced as well, all coming from the project module, was in one quick overview going from your project stages towards at which stage do we need to have our regulatory documents being signed, and if these are signed according to the e-sign module. So a bit here, and I will guide you a bit to the screens. We are here in the project area where we have enabled here a template functionality. Every template had a certain setup of stages. Within the stages of the projects, you had a specific stage focusing on the documents. If you click on the documents, you would be assigned to the document app of Odoo itself. With the smart button functionality, you could also call upon, okay, what are my regulatory documents assigned to these projects and what is the status of them? Are they being signed off by the customer? Are they being signed off by the operating supervisor, etc., etc.? So all, again, unified ways of working integrated in one process flow, which basically led as well to improved collaboration. So where, if you remember, the call to action was improve the collaboration as well within the organization to get rid of the 40% waste of overhead cost. With functionalities of Odoo, which is one of the features actually that they launched also in version 18, from the project you can also request additional materials to be purchased and to be sent and shipped either to the warehouse or straight to the off-site project location where the activity needs to perform. So again, from the project, you could assign and create a purchase order request. The purchase order request, from the same project screen, you could also assign the products to be purchased. You click on create a purchase order, and a quotation or a request for quotation was being sent to the procurement person responsible. So there was no communication face-to-face. It was all integrated in the system. The procurement person received already a notification in his inbox with the request for quotation from a certain project manager from, okay, I have now a request that I need to contact my supplier and ask for additional materials to be supplied, to be also executed and assigned to the project. So the benefit of this functionality, again, It's from purchase to project. So again, on one project overview, you had your control as well on your costs, which basically improved as well to margin visibility. The last one that we also enabled is an enhanced way of working for their persons which are performing the activities on international seas. So you needed to be able to work offline as well, because Odoo is web-based, real time, but real time requires internet, and in certain areas you don't have internet. So we created an offline portal where the person performing the activity could also register his hours. So what are my real-time hours that I'm performing? Well, okay, I've started my shift. I'm performing this kind of thermal coalescing activity on a vessel. I'm registering my hours and I stop my time. As soon as he got connected somewhere in the world towards the World Wide Web, the portal fetched the data and sends it back to Odoo where the time registration was taking place. So this is also a very effective way for your persons to also keep track of time registration and activity tracking when they are not working on the World Wide Web. Eventually brings me to the results. So all of these improvements, what did it lead to? Enhanced operational efficiency. Yeah. So improved workflow. We started basically from the project. From the project, we went to a sales. The projects also was equipped with purchase orders, time registration. So we basically had their entire workflow integrated in Odoo. Improved profitability. So within each project, on each stage, you could control as well the time spent, the activities performed, the materials purchased, and you could measure all of that against the quote that you eventually sent to the customer. So you had a margin controlling basically and a reduction of costs. Compliance achievement, as I showed you as well, the regulatory documentation all integrated within the template of each project. With 3 clicks away, you were audit proof basically. Yeah, the auditor was coming by, was requesting a list of your projects, was handpicking some projects. Well, with 2 to 3 clicks away, you could go to the stage where the documents was being assigned to, and based from the document module, you could fetch the data where you had a signed off regulatory document available. So very smooth audits, which was making the customer very happy. And timely invoicing, because a unified and collaborative way of working in an integrated solution basically also meant, okay, we don't need to check every order or every invoice that we are sending 4 to 5 times. It was where they were invoicing post an activity performed 2 months later in time, they went to a D+5, so a workday +5 invoicing schedule. So every month, as soon as a project was being finished and deployed, they could invoice straight to the customer within 5 working days, which was a very, very big improvement for their cash flow management. Of course, a couple of key learnings that I would also like to give with you and share with you, and after that we will open for the Q&A session. So the situation where we entered in this project was quite unique. Normally when we are visiting companies, they all start with, okay, this is my sales, and we start our business process analysis from the sales. The way of thinking here was the other way around. Every activity that they performed, every sale activity that they performed was managed by an integrated project workflow. So we said, okay, we will not look at it from a sales perspective. Let's start it from a project perspective. What do you need to effectively manage your project? And from the projects, as the main setup in the hierarchy, we went to the aspects linked to it: sales, purchasing, invoicing, and time registration and documents. It requires end-to-end business understanding, because as you jump in the projects, of course, you cannot go only isolated module per module, business process per business process. Starting from the project also forces you to think really end-to-end. Which brings me to the last point. Thinking end-to-end also requires several key critical stakeholders. So involve your key critical stakeholders at the start of a project so that you can enhance and set up an efficient workflow at the start. Thank you all. Opening now for Q&A, where you can scan the QR code.
Okay, so there's a question being written right now.
Yep.
Just waiting for it.
No worries, take the time.
So, how long was the project implementation?
So we started in January and they are currently live. So it roughly took 9 months along with extensive end-to-end user testing and training of the critical stakeholders. 9 months.
9 months?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe someone else? Reading, or maybe just directly in the microphone if you want?
Feel free.
Okay, well. I think that's all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.